We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
We grow when we give.
Nosotros crecemos cuando damos.
We grow when we give.
与えるとき成長する。
We grow when we give. Welcome to R.O.G, Return on Generosity, a podcast celebrating generosity at work. Not financial giving, giving valuable time, alternative perspectives, and genuine collaboration. Welcome to R.O.G, Generous Leadership Coaching Tip. I'm your host, Shannon Cassidy. We're working our way through the 5-degree principle, how small changes lead to big results. And this week, we're focusing on chapter 4, and it's called Prioritizing Priorities. The quote that we're looking at is from Stephen R. Covey, and he says, "The key is not to prioritize what's on our schedule, but to schedule our priorities." Many of you might be familiar with Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like be proactive, begin with the end in mind. Habit number 3 is put first things first. And in this habit, he challenges us to first think about what are those first things? What are those priorities? And then put them first. An exercise that Stephen Covey has done with his audiences is called big rocks. And you might have heard the vernacular big rocks related to priorities, like we need to reevaluate our big rocks, or we need to prioritize our big rocks, or we need to clarify what are our big rocks. So how did that come to be? Well, he would work with audiences and he would have all of these materials out on a table. He'd have these big rocks, medium rocks, small pebbles, sand, and water. And then he would have this big glass container, and he would challenge people to come up and try to figure out how to get all of the items into the clear glass empty container. So participants would volunteer and they would come up, and inevitably they would be trying to jam everything in, and there would be rocks stacked up beyond the limit of this container and many leftover resources. And then he would stop them and say, like, this is how we handle life, is that we just throw a bunch of things in and we hope that it all works out. A smarter way to do it, and so then he brings up this new clear container that is empty. He says it's to start with the big rocks first. Put those in the container first, then the medium, small pebbles, then the sand, and it shifts in there, and then he pours the water and it all fits in there. But it would not be possible if we didn't start with the big rocks. So that analogy or visual is so helpful for us because we need to first figure out what are those big rocks for us, and how do we very thoughtfully and conscientiously, deliberately put those big rocks in first, meaning they get prioritized in our life. So the first thing is to figure out what are those big rocks for you. So it could be something daily, like let's just say it's meditation, or taking your medication, or telling your loved ones that you love them, or hydration, something along those lines. That's a daily habit. It's something that's big and requires a daily discipline. Then there might be other things that are a couple of times a week, like exercise or certain health related practices you have, or maybe it's a gratitude practice or a feedback practice or something related to how you're investing in your team and your organization. And then there might be monthly events that are priorities. They're really important, and you have a cadence where you work on them once a month. And then there might be other things that's a couple of times a year. So you want to first think about what are my big rocks, and then where do they fit into my calendar and at what regularity, and then block time to make sure that those things happen. Hold yourself accountable by looking at your calendar, because similar to what Stephen Covey said, which is the key is not to prioritize what's on our schedule, but to schedule our priorities. We've got to schedule these things. Another book that I read recently is called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And the subtitle is Clutch, where he says, it's the disciplined pursuit of less. The disciplined pursuit of less. That's what I think we mean when we're talking about prioritizing priorities, because as generous leaders, we want to give, we want to get involved, we want to volunteer and be helpful, but we've got to be disciplined about not starting with the sand and trying to jam in the other things that really matter in our lives, and make sure that the order is sequential with our values and our priorities. So good luck this week discerning what are your priorities, what are your big rocks, and how are you going to deliberately put them in first. Stay generous, everyone.
Thanks for listening to R.O.G. Return on Generosity podcast. Please help us grow by subscribing and reviewing us on your favorite podcast player. And for more information, visit bridgebetween.com. We grow when we give.
우리는 나누면서 성숙합니다.
We grow when we give.
On rayonne quand on donne.
We grow when we give.